Some more from an anthology of verse. So we are at poem number 7 now. Okay. Home thoughts from abroad. Oh, to be in England, now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs and brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are tiny in leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough in England now. And after April, when May follows, and the white throat builds and all the swallows, hark, where my blossom's pear tree on the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops at the bent spray's edge. That's the wise thrush, he sings each song twice over, lest you should think he never could recapture the first fun cartlet's rapture. The first fun careless rapture. And though the field looks rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower. And this was by Robert Browning. You know, it's an old book when they use the word gay in its proper context. Okay, next one. Number 8, snake. A snake came to my water trough on a hot, hot day, and I in my pajamas for the heat to drink there. In the deep, strange scented shade of the great shark carob tree, I came down the steps with my pitcher, and I must stand and wait, for there he was at the trough before me. He reached down from the fissure in the earth wall in the gloom, and trailed his yellow-brown slackness soft-bellied down over the edge of stone trough. And I rested his throat upon the stone bottom, and where the water had dripped from the tap in a small clearness, he sipped with his straight mouth, softly drank through his straight gums into his slack long body silently. Someone was before me at my water trough, and I, like the second comer, waiting. He lifted his head from his drinking, as cattle do, and looked at me vaguely, as drinking cattle do, and flickered his two-forked tongue from his lips, and mused a moment, and stooped and drank a little more, being earth-brown, earth-golden from the burning bowels of the earth. On the day of Sicilian July, with Etna smoking, the voice of my education said to me, he must be killed. For in Sicily the black snakes are innocent, the gold are venomous. And voices in me said, if you were a man, you would take a stick and break him now and finish him off. But I must confess how I liked him, how glad I was he had come like a guest in the quiet to drink at my water trough, and the departure peaceful, pacified, and thankless, into the burning bowels of this earth? Was it cowardice that I dared not kill him? Was it perversity that I longed to talk to him? Was it humility to feel honored? I felt so honored. And yet those voices, if you were not afraid, you would kill him. And truly, I was afraid, I was most afraid, but even so, honored still more, that he should seek my hospitality from out of the dark door of the secret earth. He drank enough and lifted his head, dreamily as one who has drunken, and flickered his tongue like a forked knight on the air, so black, seeming to lick his lips, and looked around like a god unseeing into the air, and slowly turned his head, and slowly, very slowly, as if thrice a dream, proceeding to draw his slow length curving around and climb again the broken bank of my wall face. And as he put his head into the dreadful hole, and as he slowly drew up, snake easing his shoulders and entered further, A sort of horror, a sort of protest against his withdrawing into the horrid black hole, deliberately going into the darkness and slowly drawing himself after, overcame me now his back was turned. I looked around, I put down my pitcher, and I picked up a clumsy log. I threw it at the water trough with a clatter. I think I did not hit him, but suddenly that part of me that was left behind, convulsed with undignified haste, arrived like lightning and was gone. Into the black hole, the earth-lipped fissure in the wall front, at which, in an intense still noon, I stared with fascination. And immediately I regretted it, and I thought how paltry, how vulgar, what a mean act. I despised myself and the voices of my accursed human education, and I thought of the albatross, and I wished he would come back, my snake, for he seemed to me again like a king in exile, uncrowned in the underworld, now due to be crowned again. And so I missed my chance with one of the lords of life, and I have something to expiate my pettiness. And that was D.H. Lawrence. This one's called A Field of Light, and it's number 9. Came to lakes, came to dead water, ponds with moss and leaves floating, planks sunk in the sand, a dog turned at my touch of a foot, a long weed floated upward, and I tilted. Small ones made a chilly noise. The soft cove cried for sound, reached for a grape, and leaves changed. A stone's shape became a clam. A fine rain fell on fat leaves. I was there alone in a watery drowse. Angel within me, I asked, did I ever curse the sun? Speak and abide? Under the sheaves, under the blackened leaves, behind the green-visaged trellis, in the deep grass at the edge of a field, along the low ground dry only in August? Was it dust I was kissing? A sigh came far. Alone I kissed the skin of a stone. Marrow soft danced in the sand. The dirt left my hand, visitor. I could feel the Mars nose. A path went walking. The sun glittered in small rapids. Some morning came beatings in its wings. The great film filled with birds. Listen, love, that dark sang in the field. I touched the ground warmed by the killdeer. The salt laughed in the stones. The ferns had their ways, and the pulsing lizards, and the new plants still awkward in their soil. The lovely diminutives. I could watch. I saw the separatedness of all things. My heart lifted up with great grasses. The weeds believed me, and the nesting birds. There were clouds making a route of shapes crossing a windbreak of cedars. And a bee shaking drops from rain-soaked honeysuckle. The worms were delighted as the wrens, and I walked through the light air, and moved with the morning. And that was Theodore Roethke, or Roethke. Number 10. The Lonely Land. Cedar and jagged fir uplift sharp barbs against the gray and cloud-piled sky, and in the bay, brown spume and windrift, a thin bitter spray, snap at the whirling sky, and the pine trees lean in one way. A wild duck calls to her mate, and the ragged and passionate tones stagger and fall, and recover and stagger and fall on these stones, are lost in the lapping of water on smooth flat stones. This is the beauty of dissonance, this is resonance of stony strand, this smoky cry, curled over a black pine like a broken and wind-battered branch, when the wind bends the tops of the pines and curdles the sky from the north. This is the beauty of strength broken by strength and still strong. Written by A.J.M. Smith. 11. Shepherds and Stars. From the land. Shepherds and stars are quiet with the hills. There is a bond between the men who go from youth about the business of the earth, and the earth they serve, their cradle and their grave. Stars with the seasons alter only he who wakeful follows the pricked evolving sky, turns concordant with the earth whilst others sleep. To him the dawn is punctual, to him the quarters of the year no empty name, a loudish life, but in the midst of the dark, but to a gash of beauty, as when the hawk bears upwards in its talons the striking snake. High and yet higher still those who hang close, the sculpture on the blue together twined, exalted, deathly silent and alone. That is by V. Sackville-West. Number 12. The Shepherd to His Love. Come live with me and be my love, and we will all be pleasure's proof, that hills and valleys, dale and field, and the craggy mountains yield. There will we sit upon the rocks and see the shepherds feed their flocks, by the shallow rivers to whose falls melodious birds sing madrigals. There will I make 3 beds of roses, and 1,000 fragrant posies, a cap with flowers and a kirtle, embroidered all with leaves of myrtle. A gown made of the finest wool, which from our petty lamps we pull, fair-lined slippers for the cold, with buckles of the purest gold. A belt of straw and ivory buds, with coral clasp and amber studs. And if these pleasures may thee move, come live with me and be my love. The silver dishes for my meat, as precious as the gods do eat, shall on an ivory table be, prepared each day for thee and me. And shepherd swains shall dance and sing, for daylight each May morning. If these delights in my mind may move, then live with me and be my love. And that's by Christopher Marlowe. Quick drink. Number 13. The Nymphs reply. If all the world in love were strong, and truth in every shepherd's tongue, these pretty pleasures might me move, to live with thee and be thy love. But time drives flocks from field to fold, when rivers rage and rocks grow old, the philomel becometh dumb, the rest complain of cares to come. The flowers do fade in wanton fields, to wayward winter reckoning yields. A honey tongue, a heart of gall, and fancy spring for sorrow's fall. Thy gowns, thy shoes, thy bed of roses, thy cap, thy kirtle, and thy posies, soon break, soon wither, soon forgotten, and fully ripe, in season rotten. Thy belt of straw, and ivy buds, and coral clasp, and amber studs, all these in me no means can move, to come to thee and be thy love. But could youth last and love still breed, had joys no date nor age so neat, then these delights my mind might move, to live with thee and be my love. And this is by Sir Walter Raleigh. So it seems those 2 last poems are related. Number 14. Raleigh was right. Sorry. Raleigh was right. Okay. We cannot go to the country, for the country will bring us no peace. What the small violets tell us, that grow on furry stems, in the long grass among lance-shaped leaves. Though you praise us and call to mind the poets who sung of our loveliness, it was long ago, when the country people would plow and sow, with flowering minds and pockets at ease. If ever this were true. Not now, love itself a flower, with roots in the parched land, empty pockets make empty heads. Cure it if you can, but do not believe that we can live today in the country, for the country will bring us no peace. And that's William Carlos Williams. Let me just check something. Okay, number 15. This will be the last one for today. The Village Master, from The Deserted Village. Beside each strangling fence that skirts the way, with blossomed firs unprofitable gay, there in his nosy mansion skilled to rule, the village master taught his little school. A man severe he was, and stern to view. I knew him well, and every truant knew. Well had the body the tremblers learned to trace the day's disasters in this morning face. Full well they laughed with the counterfeited glee of all his spokes, for many joke had he. Full well the busy whisper circling round conveyed the dismal tidings when he frowned. Yet he was kind, or if severe in aught, the love he bore to learning was in fault. This village all declared how much he knew. 'Twas certain he could write and cipher too. Lands he could measure, terms and tides presage, and even the story ran that he could gauge. In arguing too, the parson owned his skill, for even though vanquished he could argue still. While words of learned length and thundering sound amazed the gazing rustics ranged around, and still they gazed, and still the wonder grew that one small head could carry all he knew. But past is all his fame, the very spot where many a time he triumphed is forgot. And that's Oliver Goldsmith. And that's going to be it for today. Alright? Thank you very much for listening.